this is about our audience and this is about the coaches that are there. And then trying to make sure that I don't, put any, self in there. I was struggling even just a simple, like, just an introduction, because I don't want to think this is anything about what I've done or who I am. So I guess I'll just try to do and you can give me some feedback on it.
Well, just to let you know, so in any workshop that you do, the partner will have a little paragraph about you. So
Perfect.
like Trey will send that. And so they'll read all of your stats. Like she has been a pro golfer, blah, 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 blah. They'll read all that for you. So you really don't have to introduce yourself in terms of what you've done, which is kind of nice because you feel better when there's somebody else. Yeah.
I agree. Because it's awkward. It's kind of like, are you saying too much? Are you boring the people by they have bigger stories than you do?
But it is important though to establish credibility because they need to know who you are because you're the expert in the room right now. So they need to know. So what I usually suggest is the first part after the partner introduces you, the first part is basically, I like to say why I'm here. So like you probably have a lot of other things you could be doing. Why do you think this message is important to share with coaches? And that I think is the first introduction that you would say. That can be a story. That can be just a quick sentence. I was introduced to PCA through blah, blah, blah. This is why I think it's important. Or you could say something like, I've been coaching kids for X number of years. And I've just found that they just don't know how to handle, pressure. They don't know how to bounce back from mistakes. Their parents are all over their back. And, PCA has given me the tools to be able to do that. So whatever works for you, I think that's a really important part of the introduction, that it's not about you, but it's about why you're here.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Oh yeah. And I have lots of reasons why, so I think it's just a matter of, like you said, it's just trying to figure out that one, what would be the simplest and probably, the one that, just kind of hits it right there, hits from the heart.
Yeah.
So, okay. I'll try.
So pretend it's like a workshop. Pretend I've just introduced you, and the first slide that comes up is the text to sign in slide. So you can just explain that's how we sign in, and then we'll just go from there. I'll follow along, clicking through, but if I go too fast or too slow, just tell me.
Okay. All right. So, and then I'll just start from there. Okay.
And you can pretend I'm a whole room of coaches. So, I'll answer anything for anybody. I have multiple personalities, so.
All right. Well, I know I've watched you a lot. You're awesome. So thank you. All right. So let's see. Boy, here we go. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. And my name is Susie Redmond, and I am both a professional golfer and a golf coach. But I'm really here today to share with you my passion for Positive Coaching Alliance. See, I didn't do that too well. I'm sorry, but
no, that was good. That was just keep going, because I'm writing down notes. A lot of times I'll steal things from you. Don't think because I'm writing something bad. Just keep going. Just flow.
Okay, so what I thought we would do is just go ahead and stand up, and I just wanted to say that athletes of all levels worry about choking in the clutch. So I'm not here to talk about choking, but I do want to give you a simple kind of antidote to kind of kick off what we're doing. A simple antidote to choking is called 3Bs. So what I like to do is just breathe. So inhale and exhale. Also, I like to bounce a little bit and just to feel, I'm a little bit nervous so I can feel a little bit grounded and ready to go, and then clap. So again, just kind of getting started, knowing that right today, I am a little bit nervous, and I think those 3Bs, the antidotes of breathe, inhale, a lot of energy, and exhale, just anything that we just need to get rid of today, and then also feeling rooted and grounded, and then also clapping. So what I'd like to do today is, since we are standing up, and I know I sat down, but since we are standing up, I'd like to get to know you a little bit more. I'd like to find out about you and how many years you've been coaching. So why don't we try, since we were clapping and trying to get some blood flow going, why don't we clap the amount of years that you've been coaching? So on a count of 3, we're just going to clap those years and see who is left clapping. So 1, 2, 3. Kelly, that's great. That's awesome. So it's wonderful to be in this workshop, and it's wonderful to be around so many coaches that have years and years of experience. There are some that are starting out, but as you can see, one of the class went on for probably over 20 years. So welcome. We're so happy to have you here today. And another thing that I think is super cool is that we all, to get to know each other, we come from a lot of different sports. And so my sport, if I was going to show you, looks something like this. And as we know, that would be golf. And what I'd like for everybody to do is to kind of show me their sport. So if you could stand up and show me your sport, I'd like to see kind of the sport that you coach. And again, I'll show you mine. Okay, that's awesome. And that's great. And then for some of us, we might even have a dream sport that we want to play. And mine would look kind of silly, but I'd like to probably rock climb. And the reason I'm showing you this is that a lot of times in youth sports that we find that a lot of our athletes, they're they're in front of others. There's this thing called social inhibition, and sometimes that their confidence is a little bit low in front of other people. So I wanted to go and break the ice right now, get to know you, get to know how many years you've been coaching, what you coach, and so thank you for that. So today, just for a little bit of housekeeping, I thought we could bring out your phones, a great opportunity to bring it out. Let's sign in for today's workshop. What you'll do is you will go to your messages and you will text the number 650-763-2405. Please include 3 very important items: hashtag or pound, in this case 0000, your first name and your last name and your email address. This is really important information for the Positive Coaching Alliance so that we know that you're here, so that you can also be certified. It also helps you with, for us to get to know you. We will not use your name and your information, but it also, what it does is you can get certified today, and the other thing that it will get you plugged in. Really important to get into the tools and resources. And by joining the Positive Coaching Alliance movement, you're now part of a virtual team. And the big thing here is that being a part of a team, that we're all in this together and we all can help each other out. And through all this big, large community and organization, our mission here is to transform youth sports so sports can transform youth. So who is Positive Coaching Alliance? Has anybody ever been to a Positive Coaching Alliance workshop? By raise a hand? No. Okay. Well, welcome. I'm so happy that you're here. And do you know anything about Positive Coaching Alliance?
I know that it is trying to make me a better coach.
Yes, and that is such a great answer. I appreciate that. Thank you, because for me as a coach, I really want to know how I can get better, how I can be a better coach. And with Positive Coaching Alliance, they train annually, yearly, 80,000 coaches. So you being in this room today is, you're a part of a big organization, a big community of support around you. And not only 80,000 coaches are being trained a year, Positive Coaching Alliance has reached over 3.3 million youth. And today, being a part of this workshop, yearly there's 2,500 live workshops. And I think that the great thing about Positive Coaching Alliance is that they're here to help you, so that also you can go to the Positive Coaching Alliance. It's called the PCADevZone.org. And they've had over 1 million visits annually to this Positive Coaching Alliance Development Zone. And I think that's really important, because I know that when I started coaching, I didn't even know where to start. So having the support was such an impact for me on how to get better. And I think now what I'd like everybody to do, if you could, you have friends beside you, if you could, coaches beside you, let's find out, what does the phrase positive coaching mean to you? So if you could take about 30 to 45 seconds and just talk about to another coach, what does positive coaching mean to you?
Okay. I'll blah, blah, blah with my partner.
Okay. And so would anybody like to share? I know since we've been upstanding and clapping and moving, and we're all now comfortable with one another, would anybody like to share what positive coaching means to them?
So my partner and I talked about how a positive coach is a coach that really cares about the kids. And we also talked about how they like to have fun, that they understand that sports is about fun, not just about winning. And we were just talking about them being really encouraging. And, you know, the first thing we said is like not using punishment to get the kids motivated.
Yes. And thank you for that. I appreciate that. I think that positive coaching is definitely, there's a good feel to that, but positive coaching is something that listening to you say it reminds me of the essence of who I am and what I want to be. And I think, thank you so much for that. Positive Coaching Alliance, their definition is creating an atmosphere that supports best possible performance. And we all know that everybody wants to get better. If you're playing in a sport, you want to be able to improve. You want to know that you're getting better. And so creating that atmosphere that supports best possible performance. And I really liked, Kelly, that you had mentioned about caring. Caring is probably the biggest thing that you can do as a coach is to care about another person, the person that's in front of you. I think that's really important, and recognizing that the players that at that point then they can really believe in what you're trying to tell them. Also, on the next slide, it's called The Power of Positive. So if somebody could read for me, I will start out with the first, and if somebody could read the blue part for me, that'd be awesome. There's a perception that the best way to get what you want out of employees or players is by negativity or threats. But if somebody could read that.
Yep. Negativity doesn't work as well as positivity.
And positive emotions are especially contagious, and a leader's positive emotions, well, I read that too, are more contagious than anyone else's, sorry. And the cool thing about the Positive Coaching Alliance is that it's backed by sports psychologists. And here, Dr. Barbara Fredrickson, not only when you look at this, you can see that it helps you not only in sports, but in life and at work, at your workforce or your workplace, and just in your community. So it's really something that positivity, for most of us, if you have that positive experience, is something, it gives you that upward spiral to do better. Next slide.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Hold on. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that.
And so when you're looking back at a coach that has made an impact on you, what are 3 words that, if you're looking at a positive coach that made an impact of you, what 3 words would describe that coach? What 3 words would describe that coach?
My first word, my most positive coach, I just picture her smiling. So I think body language is a big part of it. She was actually enjoying being with us. So I would say she was happy, like she had joy. She was, she really cared about each one of us as individuals. So I would say instead of just cared about the program, she really cared about us as people. And she just made us believe in ourselves. You know, she had a lot of encouragement. She put the bar high, and she encouraged us to get there all the time.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that answer, because I think that this positive approach is definitely going to be what, when coaches talk about peak performance, you know, this is peak performance. It's getting the most out of your players and allowing these players that, you know, it's okay to make mistakes. And by coming across as, I always say, like a better coach, saying that way, by doing that, you know, this makes that your athlete work harder and give better effort because of that. But we do know that in the past that that if you look at this particular slide with Alex Wolf, that that didn't happen, and there were a lot of emotional damages that happened because of it. And you know, life after, you know, maybe a negative experience with a coach, you know, you'll probably remember that the most, even though that we're talking about what makes a positive coach. And so we are really excited that here at the Positive Coaching Alliance that we have a national advisory board that consists of over 200 players and you know, past players, current and past players and coaches that, you know, they're here to help us with best practices and what they did well, so that you can tap into if you have any questions, or again, just things that you want to, you know, you have your place that you can come to learn more about. When you look at these elite players and coaches, these elite players and coaches agree that positivity works. And if you look on here, I had to do some research, but I had to look up a lot of these coaches, because sometimes in golf, I've stayed in my own lane, but I've realized that through Positive Coaching Alliance that I can tap onto the other sports and learn more from them to make me a better coach. So this has been great, as a great tool and resource for me to find out what these great players have done in the past and they're currently doing now. So I have a question. Do you agree that positivity works better? So
I do.
Yes, and so if positivity is what works better, then we also see that negativity distracts, and we also have sports psychologists that also comes in and helps us with, you know, it takes you from the moment, and we're finding that our biggest issue now with youth sports is that youth still come in, but by the age of 13, they're dropping out. 70% of our youth sports are dropping out by the age of 13. And that's an alarming rate, because at that time in their life, that is a make or break time in their life. It is something where they need sports so that they better understand who they are, and they have something that they can, you know, feel like, you know, a culture, a positive culture that they can feel like they fit and belong at, and that they can, you know, grow in and again, and achieve all their dreams and their dreams that they want to in life. So this negativity, you know, is a point as a coach that we need to take a look at, and through the double goal coach. The Double Goal Coach gives us a model, and we're very blessed to use this book, so that today you'll see that you'll use this is one of our resources that has been written by Jim Thompson, who is the founder and the CEO of Double Goal Coach and the Positive Coaching Alliance. And in this book, there are a lot of great principles and things that you can use that are simple and easy to do, and a quick reference point to remind to remind us the things like you know, for us coaches, that we need to remember that emotional tanks are important, filling emotional tanks as a coach, and then also the elm tree of mastery. It's more about mastery than it is the scoreboard, the win at all costs that we see today, the negativity in coaches. So why is there so much negativity in sports? What I'd like for you to do is maybe if you could find another coach that doesn't play your sports, or that you don't coach, and maybe speak with them about why is there so much negativity in their sport. So we'll give that about 2 minutes, and I'd like to come back together and find out why they think there's so much negativity in sports. So we'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Kelly, what do you think? Why is there so much negativity in sports? Why do you think there's so much negativity?
I have a lot of reasons for this, but I think one of them is that coaches just don't have a better way, and they know that if you yell at a group of kids, they're going to move. So I think sometimes it's just I don't want to say lazy coaching, but I feel sometimes like coaches just think that's how you get kids to move is you yell at them or you scream at them, and they think that's the best motivator, which I think it works. It gets them to move, but they're not realizing what they're doing to the kids in the long run.
Right. Thank you so much. I agree with that, and I appreciate that answer. I think that, the negativity, is there anybody else that would like to share? Because there are probably a lot of negativity in sports, and thankfully through the Positive Coaching Alliance, we can recognize it, and we can actually, kind of turn the page and really, and move ourselves into these simple principles. But I think that with negativity, negativity is what I found, that when I started coaching, in golf, I only knew what my coaches taught me. So I had to really go and learn, best ways to coach youth and children and child development. So I had to seek it out, and I had to find out how to do that. And then when I started finding out that so many, kids, that they were dropping out of golf, at such a young age, and because they didn't get selected on the high school team, and some of the coaches were saying, well, stick to golf because you can get a college scholarship, and all these reasons, all the pressure involved in it. I decided that I needed to find a different way, and really it was just about coming in there and teaching life lessons through golf and showing them that, golf, it really, it's there with them, with honoring the game and all the core values that
Did I lose you? Oh no. Oh no. I think her cat got her out of the hangout. Let's see if she joins back in. There you go.
That was so bad. I'm so
That
sorry.
is so funny. Did your cat totally disconnect you?
It's so bad. So yeah, I have 2 cats, 2 dogs. 2 cats, 2 dogs. So sorry about that.
That's so funny. I've never had a cat hang up a phone call before. That's great.
That's so funny.
I love it.
So, but that, I kind of lost my thought there. But so yeah, and I think I was just saying about it's that was my reason to about keeping them in the game. So that was my trying to help them through it. And so I think that is the area that I go to, and I think I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. So
no, that's all right. No, I don't. It's totally fine. You were on the right track. You were just talking about how there was a lot of kids in golf that said they were going to quit because they didn't make the team or they wanted to get a scholarship.
Right. There was all the pressure of the college coaches. The coaches saying to them that, well, they've got to train more, and so they can get a college scholarship. And so, I realized that wasn't working. And really, it's just about developing them as the person and develop them as people, and knowing that, golf is, that using the golf and the principles that you could use and teach them that, yes, coach, the winning is important, but winning at life lessons and through what the lessons can teach you with sticking with it and persevering and never giving up. And so using all those tools has really helped me with that. And so we can go to the next slide.
Sure.
Which one am I?
The vision and the support one is next. This is just a real quick, like you've already kind of talked about it, but I usually just take these really quick so they know what the vision is.
Okay. So on the vision, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, without looking at my notes, but the vision really is to create a development zone and better athletes, better people. I think that is really important. And then let's see, where's our next one? Kelly, I'm so sorry.
Is just this. No, you're fine. So the next one, I make these real quick. I think people spend too much time on these slides. You said the vision is that all kids have an opportunity to have a positive coach. I mean, that's why we're doing workshops live for coaches. And then the next one is just support that you have. Like I usually just say, we're not sending you out here on your own. You've got the book, you've got tools, you've got a website we've showed you. We're going to email you a newsletter because you signed in every week. It's just to tell them that they're not
talking point.
Yeah. So again, just make it real quick.
Yeah. So you get the 6 weeks of the talking points, and then, so that'll help. And then, you've got your book and your tools, and then you can go to the Development Zone website and look at information for, recruiting, for athletes, for parents, for, administration. So you have, plenty of resources to tap into.
Yep. You're doing great. Keep going.
So what makes a great youth sports experience for kids? And I think today, since we're all in this room, we've talked about some things like smiling, enjoying, being happy, caring. There are these reasons that, to make that youth sport experience great. So I like to hear also more feedback from, what makes a youth sports experience? I think does anybody have any thoughts to that?
I think I have 4 daughters, and I think when I look back at the best teams they were on, I think it was really team bonding. Like they don't remember the score, they don't remember the record at the end of the season, but they remember the team that they had the most friends on and that they had the most fun on. And I think so. I think personally for me, especially for girls, that's a really important part of the youth experience.
So in PCA, we talked about feeling connected. So you just hit on that. I think that is really important. And I also think that not only for the youth, I think that even we're all in this room to be connected and feeling like that, that we are making an impact, that we're connected to something larger than ourselves. And I think that everybody wants to feel that. I know that, youth want to feel like they belong, they fit in, they're connected to their teammates, to their friends, to their coaches. So connection is probably the number one reason, in order to remember on what makes a meaningful, athlete experience. The second one is making sure that everybody can get better. Everybody can get better, and knowing that a person wants to feel like they can get better, they can improve. And so I think it's important as a coach to remember that we're all going to improve in different different times and different ages and stages of development. So we have to remember that. So we need to remember that they need to feel connected, they need to feel like they can improve, get better, and also feel like they're a part of something that is bigger than themselves, that serves a greater meaning. So I think being a part of a group that has integrity, that is really walking the talk. And so if I'm saying to you that hey, you did a really great job this week practicing on your fundamentals, and I saw you spent a lot of time in that, then I'm going to recognize that, but I'm going to recognize that for myself and everybody else, that we're all in this together, and that we're just trying to do the simple things well. And that, so I'm saying that it's really important, integrity is really important, and making sure that you say what you mean, and then also that your group is keeping everything honest together.
Yeah.
So I think that is then the next thing that we talk about, that if you don't have these things, if you have these things, these 3 things of being connected and knowing that you can improve, and that your coach believes in you, and that your team is acting out of integrity, what do you think could happen? I think that we think about these things, but the biggest thing is that you could win, right? So you can win on the scoreboard by having these, feeling connected, and knowing that you can improve. And through the Positive Coaching Alliance, the way that, let's see if I can get this right today, but without looking. So feeling connected would be feeling that you're connected through emotional tank, right? And so by feeling connected, that you're filling each other's emotional tank, and that you're paying attention to yourself, but you're paying attention to others and filling their tanks and making sure that, that we're all wanting to improve and get better. And then also the Elm Tree of Mastery. We use the improving by Elm Tree of Mastery by your effort and learning and knowing that you have some rituals to bounce back from mistakes. And then integrity is just honoring the game. And honoring the game is so important, knowing that we can play by rules, and also that we honor each other and respect each other, and that when we go out there, that we hold that code of standard as coaches and as teammates and parents, administrators, coaches, all that. So that's great. So all right. I think that on the next slide is understanding your legacy. What my question would be to you is, for some of you that clapped and been in it for 20 years, you've watched these young people grow up, and how amazing it is to hear some of their feedback on your impact that you've made in their life. I can't think of anything greater to know that when a 25-year-old or 20-year-old comes up to you and gives you a hug and tells them what an impact that you've made in their life, what a difference you made in your life, and how that makes you feel. So that, so our legacy is to make sure that we impact the lives that are standing in front of us, so that they can be better people, better citizens in the community, and grow and flourish along the way. So leaving the legacy, if you listen to Herm Edwards, which we can listen to his video, and so we can take a look to see what he says. We'll listen to the video. And then one of the things about Herm Edwards, he was a former National Football League head coach and player. But one of the things I thought it was interesting about him is that he always says, do the little things well. And that really makes a big difference to me, because I think that really what we're trying to do in the Positive Coaching Alliance is to do these things. They're not little, they're big, but these things well. And coach for winning and coach for life lessons, being a double goal coach. So the quote he says is, when the book of your life is written, will it say that you made a difference? And I think as a coach, we need to remember that we're difference makers. We make a difference. We make an impact on the lives that stand in front of us on a day-to-day basis. So, and through what we do, it really, I'm a great example of it, because, again, sticking to it for a long time, but also realizing that if that sport has helped me along the way through tough times, whether it was through a bad marriage or whether it was through, something tragic that happened in our family. And so I just think that that we make such a large impact. And so knowing that you understanding your legacy is really important, and and your why do you coach? Then next slide.
Yeah.
And so at this point, when I said that Herm Edwards said, do the little things well, I think that when you look at the double goal coach, there's two things here. Positive Coaching Alliance is not saying, okay, we don't want you to win. We want you to win. But we also understand that it is through life lessons that changes you, so that it actually it keeps you in the game, because you're learning from these life lessons, and through these life lessons and the things that you learn will actually, and research states that by doing it, that you'll have a better chance at winning on the scoreboard. And so we're really blessed to have that we have plenty of research that shows that a double goal coach is better than a win at all cost coach. Mm-hmm. And so, and again, I have to go back to Herm. I've got to go back to Herm Edwards, because his 3 E's are encouragement, enthusiasm, and energy, and I love it. So as a coach, what can I do better? I think that, I can take, again, these nuggets from these great national advisory members and use them on a day-to-day basis. So I think that blessing here is that that we have the tools and the principles to do that, to go out and be better coaches, which it transcends into be better athletes and be better people.
All right.
Yay. That was so hard. I have to tell you, Kelly, I have a hard time in my brain because I don't know how to simplify it all. Like, it's all in there, but I don't know how to organize myself.
Yeah. Susie, it was so well done. You don't have anything to worry about. You are perfectly right, exactly where you need to be. It was very, very, very well done. And the thing is,
so hard.
It is hard. It's not easy to do. And I think that I'm going to have a couple tips for you, but I think you know this stuff. And I'm so glad you didn't have your notes in front of you, because you just spoke from what you know. And that, I didn't see anything that was like red flag. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Like, it flowed. It was smooth. I think there were some parts where you went a little longer that I would probably say shorten that up or just keep moving through it faster. But in terms of what you're saying and what you're talking about, you were spot on. So you don't have anything to worry about at all. You're just going to keep getting better.
So hard. Like, I feel like I need to go over and over and over and over and just go listen to workshops, and then just, because organizing my brain is, I don't know if it's just because I'm in menopause or what, but I hate to say it, but it's like I can be in a room and listen to you and I'd be like, yes. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to do that. And then I try to do it and it doesn't come out like that. I can't even organize to be like that. Do you know what I mean?
Well, have you done 250 workshops?
And I've never done one.
No, that's what I mean.
This.
Do you want to go see me try to golf? Like, seriously, this is what I do and that's what you do. And, you're never, ever, until you get to 250 workshops and you're doing this every day and teaching people how to do it, I want you to be you. And as I said, if you watched me try to golf right now, you would laugh your head off. So, and I'm pretty athletic. You've got everything in place that needs to be in place. And
Kelly, I've listened to all the people that you put out there. They're naturals. They're like smooth and they're like butter. And I'm like jumping all in my head. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know.
I think honestly, you were smooth like butter until about 9 minutes from the end. I think you were, I recorded this so you can watch it back. Like, you were totally smooth sailing. And I'll show you exactly the point where you got it was this one right here. And I'm going to go through when you got to this, like when your cat messed it up. I think that's when it kind of threw you off a little bit. And that's where I feel like you were just kind of thinking about it too much and it wasn't flowing. But before that, I was literally taking notes from you. Like, oh my gosh, I love that. I love that phrase. I love the way she said that. So, you have nothing to worry about at this point. You are exactly where you should be. And it's just a matter of reps. It's just a matter of reps and practice.
Repeat.
And I tell people all the time, even when you're a certified trainer, I think it took me about 10 workshops before I didn't feel like I was going to throw up every time I walked in front of a room full of coaches. And a third workshop I ever did was in front of 90 football coaches and little old me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get eaten alive. I'm like, there is no way these mostly all men are going to listen to me.
Yeah.
And my husband said right before I walked out the door, he said, they will listen to you. He said, remember, they now have female sports commentators on ESPN. And there's a reason, you have credibility because of what you know and who you are. And I was like, all right, here I go. But it freaks you out. But then after I did it more and more, and you get feedback, because this is good stuff. It's not about you. It's about what you're sharing. And then it doesn't have to be about you. I sort of now take myself out of the picture. And
I know, I would rather, because it's so, I don't even like it. Like, it's kind of like the when I went to Houston, and I apologize for not knowing her name, but she was all with baseball players.
Oh, Jasmine.
She was great. She was great. They were all guys and they didn't want to input at all. And she tried, she really did. And they were quiet. And so then she would just pick up where she was at and she would just go to the next one and hammer it out. And but in a very beautiful way. Like she was so beautiful about it, and it brought you into, because then when she realized they were going to give a story, she had to kind of get a little bit about her, like her little story to go with it. But it was small because she was great. But
if I showed you, I should show you her first video. Jasmine was not great in the beginning. Like she was stumbling. She was like getting all freaked out. I mean, and she hasn't even done a ton of workshops. You gain confidence too. The more you do it, you gain confidence. So let me just share some of the things I really liked. Yeah. So, and again, I recorded this, so you don't have to necessarily write them all down. But I loved right off the bat the 3 Bs. I mean, how great is that? And that's a tool. That's one of our tools. And it was perfect. Like you got me up out of my seat, relaxing. And I'm like, oh, wait, I'll use that. So I think that was a great way to start a workshop. I've never seen anybody do that. And I love it. I think that was awesome. I also love clap the number of years you've been coaching. I mean, I'm just picturing in a room of coaches, you're going to have some that are like, done. And you're going to have others that are going to keep clapping. And I'm just picturing like, if you've got a coach in there it's still like maybe standing up and clapping all by himself. I'm picturing even have them clap the number of years they've been coaching. And as they stop clapping, sit down. So that
have them sit down?
Yeah, because then have them all stand up, clap the number of years they've been coaching. Because at the end, you're going to have the longest mature coach in the room that's sitting there still clapping.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. I'm going to do that.
What a great way too. And then, you can get everybody to rally up and give a round of applause for the coach that's been coaching the longest.
Okay, that's awesome.
It's fun. And then
I love that.
What I've done too is said, okay, coach who's been coaching for 40 years, I'm going to put you on the spot. And I might notice who the first coach was to sit down. And I would say, okay, this guy over here has been coaching for 0 years. You've been coaching for 25 years. If you could go back and tell your first year coach one thing, what would it be?
Wow.
And I have gotten some really good nuggets out of just that question. And 90% of the time they say, I would have more fun. I would care more about the kids. I would have spent more time getting to know the athletes. Like they never, ever, ever say, I wish I won more games. They will never say that.
Hey, could that have been I love the sit down thing. And I like the rally around, like the last man, woman standing idea. And I like the idea about the 25 years to the, like maybe the coach is like first year in. Could I figure out a way to like group the older years by the younger ones instead of, because I was thinking that like when you were saying that in that story, I mean, really, I like with you having so much experience. I mean, I want to learn from experience, right? Because you're wise, you know it. And so is that too much at that point to do that and then just say?
Not at all. I mean, what I've done sometimes too is I'll line them up in a timeline, like according to how many years they've been coaching. And then when I bring them together, it has the most experienced coaches lined up with the least experienced coaches to answer a couple questions. So however you want to do it, I just think I like the way you're encouraging the coaches to get up and move right away. I think that's awesome. And I like act out your sport. I like act out your dream sport. I think that would be really funny to see what people actually would love to do as their dream sport. The other thing, I love the term that you said when you were talking about the text to sign in, you really made me want to sign in because you made me feel like I was part of this. And I like the way you said about a virtual team. I like that phrase because that's exactly what it is. So I thought that was really great too.
Well, it's in the book. I think it was in the book.
No, it's
somewhere it was in the book. I was like, okay, all right, cool.
But it stood out for you. Okay. And I mean, I've never heard anybody use that term and I've read the book a million times. So I think it's great. The only thing I would suggest is that you use the term like PCA and then you said they, like they, like you are PCA to them. So say we, we at PCA, we at, like have ownership in it instead of saying like, well, they've put out a bunch of resources and they use research, you are PCA to the people in front of you. So I would just use we instead of they. That was just a little.
Yeah, I think it was just feeling like I felt like maybe not like you said, I didn't feel like I had enough experience to own it, I suppose. And I was really hard to say that. Do you know what I mean? Like I felt like
you own it.
Yeah.
It's you.
Okay.
You are the expert in the room right now. So I thought it was good.
Okay.
I really like too, just even putting in, like, a lot of trainers will say like 70% of kids drop out of sports. I really like the way you made it personal think about a 13-year-old. It is a make or break year. And I think that was a really good point to make, that, you know, these kids, especially at that age, and you even said it, they're just striving to belong. They're trying to figure out their identity. And we want to give them a positive culture to be able to do that. And I just like the way you brought that point out. That's one of those like emotional moments for me, because my daughter's in 6th grade and I'm like, oh, you're right. Like, this is, if she had a negative coach right now, that would be so hard for me as a parent at her age, you know? So I think that's really important. I like that point. When you said, when you were asking the question about why negativity, you said, find another coach that plays a different sport than you. It might just be fun to have them stand up, maybe wait when you said like act out your sport. Maybe don't do that in the beginning, but wait until that question and have everybody act out your sport and say, okay, I want you to find somebody else that's acting out a different sport than you coach, just for something fun.
Okay, that's I already did the clapping, so I might as well put that there, right?
Yeah, so just scooch down the acting out the sport, or, you know, or acting out your dreams, whatever it is. I think that would be a good place to put it, rather than having them do it in the very beginning.
Okay.
It's a great way for them to find a partner.
And that's finding the partner for negativity, right?
Yeah, like I would do that. I would do that there. I mean, you could put it anywhere you want to, but I was just thinking that would be a good idea to do it there.
Okay.
And then I like the way you sprinkled in a personal story there. You said, you know, when I started coaching, I only had the way that coaches coached me. That's all I had. And you had to go out and do some research to find out a better way. I thought that was really great, because that to me is important, because I would think like somebody that's a super high level performing athlete automatically knows how to coach. And I think that was really vulnerable of you to say, like, I didn't know how to coach. Just because you know how to play the sport doesn't mean you're a great coach. And
so true.
I think that's something that coaches need to wake up and hear, because a lot of them think like, oh, I played Division I baseball, I can coach baseball. And you realize you really can't. You need help. And so that's where I was talking before about the solution. You know, PCA is bringing you the tools to be the solution to that problem. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Bring the tools. Yeah, exactly. It did. Okay.
Yeah, it's good. I liked with this slide right here. I thought you did a really nice job. This one, just the coaching model slide. I thought you did a really nice job at just being brief, because you don't want to be too long there, because you're going to talk about each one of those principles. So I thought you did a really nice job at saying, you know, the connection is filling the emotional tanks. The elm tree of mastery is helping them perform. I think you even said, like, we're going to give you rituals to help you move past mistakes. And then honoring the game is about holding them to a standard. I think you did a really nice job there, because I've seen too many new trainers just go on and on and on for that slide. I'm like, wait, don't tell them now, because you're going to get to it later. You know, just make it real quick. I think of the introduction as like the trailer. It's the trailer to the movie that makes you want to hear more. So you can give them a little teaser, but don't tell them too much in the introduction, because you don't want to repeat it when you get to the principal part.
Okay.
I also like, go ahead.
Well, I actually wrote down, let me see, on there, because I thought there was a, let's see if I can find it. I thought it was really hard to find it, but there were a couple little points on that slide. Let me see. I think there's like one little sentence to it that was really cool. Let's see. Well, I know it speaks for itself there. So maybe I'm thinking of something else, but I'll come back to you if I can think of what it was. But I really kind of liked it. But okay, never mind.
I was just going to look at the notes and see if I saw it, but no, I think you did a nice job. You did a good job, just, you know, being, as I said, being quick, concise, telling them what it was all about. I thought that was really good. All right, and then I also like how you put at the end, like, about how sports has helped you. The only thing I would do there is ask the coaches. I always say, in the back of your mind, think to yourself, ask rather than tell, because we always default to, I want to tell them everything. But if you kind of like when you got to the winning in life lessons, I thought you did a nice job at nailing, like, we want to win. That's what we're here for. That's the first goal. But the teaching life lessons part, I love the way you shared about, you know, the life lessons in sports are what carry you through life. It can help you through, you know, bad marriages or things that happen in your life. It can help you with the resilience of that. But I would ask the coaches what life lessons they have learned in sports, because Most of the coaches now have probably stopped playing at least 5 years ago, if not 10 or 20 years ago. So even ask them, like, what do you use today in your daily life that you learned from sports? And you'll get a lot of answers from adults that'll say, wow, you know what? I never really thought about the fact that I learned it in sports, but I learned teamwork. I learned communication. I learned resilience.
Today, and what was the question? What do you use today? And
what are the life lessons? Like, think about here's the Venn diagram. Oh, I already cut out of it. Sorry. This one, I'm thinking this slide right here. Ooh, right here. That slide right there. You know, instead of telling that, like, I think it's good after they share to share, like, these are the life lessons. This is what sports helped me. But ask them, what life lessons do you attribute that you learned from sports?
Okay.
So I thought that was good. I like
that. Yeah. Anything I could do less talking would be so much better for me too, because then it's like, you know, they're all engaged. They're in it. Like you said, like, I think wasn't it like 90% of it is through, you know,
discovery.
10%. Yeah, exactly. Discovery.
Yeah. And this is, again, like, if you just keep thinking, you know, we don't want you to just keep firing questions at them, because there is a point where you should be sharing also. But for sometimes, if you think to yourself, like, if you feel like you're talking too much, you probably are. It's just kind of a
towards the end there, I was struggling because I felt like I didn't know what else to, like. It was funny because you know, like, I thought about all the ways to start the thing, but I didn't know what to do in the middle, because the positive, like, because I heard so many people talk about, you know, it was so impactful about positivity and negativity, and they had such a great, like, you know, feel towards it. And I wasn't really sure how to do it. Like, I couldn't figure out how to do it. And then that's where I was catching myself, like, just saying it. You know, I was struggling. I couldn't figure out something. And then I felt like, oh, you know, say something to the next person. And I was like, oh, I've already said that. It was, you know what I mean? Like, I felt like it was just too redundant in my head, you know?
Yeah. So I think my only suggestion for that, like, you did great. As I said, you did awesome with the negativity, the positivity. Then this part of the introduction kind of transitions. Like, okay, we know the problem. We know negativity is real. Here's our vision, is to get these coaches to be more positive so that we can develop better athletes, better people. Here are the resources, blah, blah, blah. The second half of that introduction, you can go pretty quick. It's more of like, now we're trying to pull them in, and we're trying to use their experience to defend positive coaching. So, you know, you did a great job. What makes a great youth experience for kids? And I asked them, think about a positive experience you had as an athlete. What were the ingredients? What was it about? And some of them even might say, well, we won. We had a good record. We won a championship. That's awesome. That's part of it too. We want you to be successful. But the part that you know, this part here, the coaching model, from here on out in the introduction, you can go pretty quickly, because this is the part that you're going to get to later. So you don't have to feel like you have to get into detail, which you did fine. This understanding your legacy part is the video. Herm Edwards you're going to show a video of Herm Edwards. So it gives you a break for a couple minutes to just kind of like sit back, watch Herm. I like the way you even added like the 3 E's, the encouragement, enthusiasm, energy. Like, that's awesome. Anything you can throw in there is great. But it has the coaches thinking about, you know, the power that they have as a coach. This quote is the last line of what Herm said: "When the book of your life is written, will you say it made a difference?" I always say, you know, don't make that a question, because then coaches are going to be like, yes, it will say I made a difference. I like to ask coaches, you know, how do you want to be remembered? What do you want to be remembered for? At your retirement dinner, what do you hope these athletes say about you? Or what does as you said, what does a 30-year-old player that runs into you one day in the mall, are they going to run over and give you a big hug? Or are they going to pretend they didn't even see you? You know, what kind of impact do you want to have? Because you are impacting players, whether you realize it or not. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many wins you have on the scoreboard. That's not going to leave as big of an impact. I just share my own story that the winningest team I was ever on, we came in second in the state in high school, was my most negative coach. And when she retired, none of us wanted to go to the retirement dinner. And she had multiple state championships after my year. And it was really hard to get people to come to her retirement dinner. Now that's ridiculous because she won. She had championships, but nobody, everyone was like, oh, I have no desire to see her or honor her. It's so scary. It's so sad. It was really a wake-up call for me. Like, gosh, she won because she scared the crap out of us.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, this, the Venn diagram, the striving to win and teaching life lessons part, again, just have the coaches think long-term. What's our goal as a coach? It's to teach the life lessons that are going to stick with the kids forever. And then you're done. And then that's it for the whole intro. So the last section that you said, like, you felt like you were talking too much and stumbling over, you can just fly through it because it's just wetting their whistle. It's just starting their thinking, and you don't have to have all the answers right there. The second half is really pulling it out of them. What's your point? How do you want to be remembered? Why is this so important? And, you're doing totally, totally fine. You did great. You were so well prepared.
I'm telling you, I greatly appreciate you getting on. I couldn't handle anybody else. I just needed to.
That's totally fine.
I need to do it a few times just so I can kind of like organize my head. And I think that's the biggest thing is just, I so get the material. It's just a matter of like getting it in the form that stays in this form so that it has the flow and the transitions.
Yep.
So that's kind of where, I have to work at it.
Yeah. And you know what too, as I said before, don't let the slides mess you up. The slides are there to support you. You're not there to support the slides. Okay. So it's just a visual, people need visuals. People like visuals. So it's just a way to keep the flow. If you lose your flow, you have that to keep structure, but don't feel like, oh my gosh, I went out of order or I missed that. I click through slides constantly at workshops because somebody might have asked a question and I might have given this fantastic answer that might be on a slide, 3 slides from now. And I just skip it. I'm like, okay, we already got to that. Don't worry about it. And I'll just skip through it. Or while they're discussing, I might flip through while they're discussing something. I'll be like, oh, I don't want to, I'll just skip ahead. It's okay. They're not going to remember it anyway, unless they are involved in it. So
that's a good point. Can I see the video? Like, can I,
I'll send it back. I'll send it to you. Yeah.
So I can just look to see, and that way I can feel a little bit better about things and how to improve on it. And then, and I took the notes that you said.
Yeah.
So I wanted to tell you one thing before you go though, really quickly. So I was thinking about like the emotional tank, and I was thinking, have you ever seen anybody do this? Because I was thinking some ideas. Because see, I like physical literacy, so I'm always about movement.
I love it.
But
I love it.
About, like taking a balloon, right? Because it's in the book about Let It Go.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about I was thinking about like putting like a plus and a minus on it, but also going to throw some tags on it. How like you've got the coaches, you got the parents, you got your teammates, you got the community, and have the little. And then you're always kind of letting it go and bringing it back, and letting it go and bringing it back. That's an idea.
Love it. I love it.
Just to kind of show that maybe that you're filling the tank, but then at some point they're letting it go, but then right around the corner it could happen again, so they're pulling it back down.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think about that?
No, okay. I love it. And anything, I mean, PCA like knows me and they laugh. Like every time I get up to do something at like the all staff stuff, they're like, oh gosh, Kelly's going to make us work. Like I love physical. I love getting people up out of there. It's what I do well. And I don't have the credibility that you have. I don't have the coaching experience that another one of my colleagues has. What I have is the ability to get people up and moving and talking. And that's something that I can do.
Realism.
Yeah.
Yeah. And plus you're real. And so you give them that we're like, I'm in with you, because you're real and, authentic and all that. Yeah, that's cool.
But there's other trainers that have difficulty. They get nervous, like getting somebody up out of their seats that makes them nervous, but they have other gifts. Like they're really good at challenging questions or they're really good at something else. Yeah. So do what you're good at. Stay in your lane. Do what you're good at and be yourself. Okay. Well, I appreciate that. And then, when can I redo this one in front of, do I do this in front of Reba now? Next time we'll try this again. This is totally on you. I mean, I'm going to move you as fast along as you want to, but I also want you to know that you are much better than you think you are at this point in the process. So what I usually do is I'll say, okay, the introduction to the workshop is, it's done. You can cross that off your list. You're good there. The next demo that I want you to do is one of the principles, because the principles are laid out differently, because the principles are like, here's the principle, here's the kind of the theory behind it. So do something to get them to realize this is important. Then it gets into a scenario. So every principal has a scenario, and the scenario, hold on one second. Let me just stop real quick. Sorry. I'm still here. My daughter just texted me and said, can I take your car? And I'm going to say no. No, I need it. Hold on. I might have to go.
Funny. That's hilarious.
To get Jane. Wait 2 minutes.
That's hilarious.
I can drive
so
you.
You have 4 girls. I have 4 boys.
I know. That's so crazy.
So
my kids can walk to school. That's how close I am. And they always ask me, hey, can I take your car? I'm like, no.
No. Well, that's funny because Jay rides his bike to school because we're that close.
That's great. I love it. So anyway, I can't figure out where I am now, but yeah. So as I said, the principal is different. The principal is going to be so much easier for you because you're making it real. You're talking about exactly what they're going to be doing with the scenario. Like, here's a scenario. See how this fits in with your team. Talk about it, discuss it. And then here's a bunch of tools. Let's take one and practice it. Practice giving a criticism sandwich. Let's practice using an if-then statement when you're trying to give kids
That'll be
feedback.
a lot easier.
Yeah, it's so much easier. So much easier. And you can get them up in role play and try things out. And so the introduction is like, you just put that behind you because it's done. You did great with that. Let's just focus on one of the principles and getting the coaches to realize the importance of filling an emotional tank or the importance of mastery. So I'm going to run. My kids are going to steal my car.
All right,
so
thank you. Bye, Kelly.